All right. Well, I can assure you that the highest priority I have now is 100% to get OBS on my Raspberry Pi, my Raspberry Kate's cluster. And the reason for that is because this computer keeps crashing, and I just want to get that out of the way so that the stream stays live. I'm not going to do it right this minute, obviously. Again, I'm intentionally being slow here, but that's definitely priority number one. In terms of like projects and stuff. I wanted to write something else down real quick. When I go to, actually, let me change one thing. I'm gonna close out of the tab on my other TV. I've been launching YouTube on my second monitor, my Dell monitor. I've been launching the YouTube browser tab on that monitor so that when I start the stream, it's just not, in the stream, right? Because I have to go over there and click a button. But I wanted to show you guys in here. I'm going to show you something that is really annoying, so bear with me for a second. Um, I'm going to enable the preview, which is going to do that, and I'm going to disable it. Okay, when I launch OBS, that's enabled by default. So like if I come over here, it like does that tunnel vision thing, and I don't like to see that. Like no one wants to see that. Why is that the default? I'd rather have that disabled by default. Um, but I don't know how to do that. So I guess we'll figure that out at some point. But definitely like this up here, I never want to see my display. Like the fact that I'm broadcasting to my TV, I know everything I need to know is being shown. I don't need that information overload stuff. So anyway, let's move out of that. I want to put that in OBS, or I'm sorry, in my OBS. Oh, geez, this is gonna suck. I hope it doesn't. Can I save this somehow? Let's do write to test dot write to topic dot back just in case something weird happens. ls topic dot back. Okay, can I, if I vi topics now, it's gonna, oops, vi topics, it's gonna do that again, and I'm gonna delete it, and I don't know what that deleted. And now I'm going to launch it again to make sure it still loads correctly. Good. Now I'm going to mv topics.back to bits for bytes. Oh, come on. There we go. Topics. So I don't know if I deleted anything, but I want the one I just made a change to. Did it not? Oh, come on. You can't overwrite stuff? Do I have to do like dash F? Oh, I can. Okay, I think I can do dash F. No, what? It said there was a dash S for force. And then here it's like, oh, the dot. I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a dot there. So that will work. Cool. So now that topic here in the directory is gone, and then okay, I don't know. That is pretty old. That Bitcoin thing. I kind of want to delete that because it's getting in the way. I don't like files being named the same thing. I'm not going to delete it. Let me just mv Bitcoin. I was doing some experimenting. Anyway, I'm going to move that to a new folder called BTC 22. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm typing bit all the time to go to bits for bytes, and it wants it wants to show two directories, right? When I do tab complete. So anyway, let's ls bits for bytes. There we go. And let me vi topics again, and now it should just be that file. And there shouldn't be any change, but just in case there was. Um, and that's because this was open when the computer crashed. Um, so yeah, I want to go down to OBS real quick. And I know this is not really for you guys. This is just my own comfort. So I'll have it down here at the bottom of all that. Um, how do I want to call it, or what I want to say here? Like, disable preview, like screen, like when booting OBS. So like, I'm sure like if someone that knows what's going on here, they would have already fixed it, like, and it's not even content. But like for me, like, this is the channel, this is the content. So I'm gonna like go through the docs and figure out where, like, what the thing is. And by all means, like, save me time. If you know what the solution is, just let me know. We'll do it. But um, yeah, I just want to have everything live. So that was there, and then there was something else I wanted to do. Oh, when I launch OBS, it doesn't launch automatically to that page 7 like we do with Discord. By the way, let me launch Discord from 7, and it launched in 3. Cool. So let's go to 1 and go back to 1. VI i3. Is it .i3? Yeah. Okay. And let's see if we can get OBS. I won't be able to test this without crashing the stream. And even though I don't mind crashing the stream, um, I don't want to crash the stream right now because I don't want to launch YouTube again. So let's just do this. I'll have it there, and then I'll test it next time. Actually, I think I can launch another. Yeah, I can just launch OBS again. So let's refresh, and then I'm launching from tab 1. OBS is already running. Unless you meant to do this, please shut down any existing OBS instances before trying to. Let's try it, and if it crashes the stream, I get punished. Okay, it didn't work. Did it crash the other one? No, and it still says I'm streaming. So okay, cool. So let's quit this, and then let's VI again, and maybe it's with a capital. It's so weird that these are capital. Maybe it's just because it's like an object or something. I don't know. Let's reset again, and then launch OBS, and the desired effect is not that. Okay. So maybe for this one, whoops. Maybe for this one it is a class. I don't know. We'll see. Some things are classes, some things are titles. So let's try that, and then let's make sure there. It's still running over there. I'm not worried about that. By the way, when I reset my i3, you see just for a brief second right there. You see it. I'll keep clicking it. I'm resetting my i3 a bunch of times, and I'm spamming the reset key, and you'll see how it keeps showing OBS. That's just the way it does it. It's not me going to OBS every time. I'm just refreshing, and it shows OBS for a second. And it just so happens that we're talking about OBS, but me refreshing has nothing to do with OBS, except that I want to refresh so that I can load OBS on a certain workspace. So now if I go to D menu and I type OBS or just click enter, does it take me to where I want to go? So far, no luck. No luck. Okay. Quit that. Let's try again. This time we'll use lowercase. Reset. OBS. Yay! See how it moved me over here to show me that pop-up? That tells me it's going to work. So when I hit launch, it'll show up next to this one. Cool. Okay. That's a problem solved. But see how it does that up there? And I have to like disable that? I don't want to do that every time. So I'm going to try to disable that too. But for now, we have OBS every time I boot and then go into OBS, it launches on my tab 7. So I don't have to like, I just, when I launch something, I just want it away, right? One's my terminal. This is my workspace. This is what I'm doing. 100%, like, I shouldn't say 100, but definitely like more than 85% of the time, I'm living in the terminal. 75 to 80% of my waking hours when I'm working is in the terminal, unless I have a wall of meetings on my calendar, right? Most of the time I'm in the terminal. I might and I'm not too crazy. Like I'll use Slack and I'll use my web browser for the things I need to use my browser for, and I'll use like different tools as I need them. But like I live in the terminal. Some of the things I wanted to get into, I have a 3D printer. I don't even remember what it's called. It's an older one, probably from about 2019. I was doing a renovation project at the house here, and I had to 3D print. Well, I didn't have to. I was going to 3D print a like a connector to. Uh, I don't want to get into it. It's not relevant. But I wanted to 3D print a connector, not to plumbing, but like to like the valve on a pipe, right? Like I had a valve, but it was inset too far from like where I could access it through a tile wall. So I was gonna like 3D print something that would fit over that knob, right? And then or that key, right? And then I could turn it. I could install something over that in 3D, like so essentially 3D printing like an extender fitting over valve. Simple stuff. Well, maybe not so simple. I didn't do it, so it wasn't. It's not. I can't say it was simple, but I was. That was my intention. So we bought the 3D printer, and it was like 400, 500, 600 bucks. I don't remember. And then like we played with it. My dad and I were just playing with it for a little bit, and then I put it away, and I haven't touched it since. Um, so I'll need to clean that off. Again, I'm not. What I can probably do for that is when we get our Raspberry Pi or embedded cameras set up, I can probably put a camera on my 3D printer so that like we can be watching the 3D print status without me having to leave the stream to go check, because I don't want that in the same room, obviously because of fumes. But as the same room is where I'm that I'm doing this stream from, so I guess in a separate room, and I don't want to have to keep going over there to look. So the idea is that maybe for that we can get one of the prototypes of the camera system, looking BI topic. We can get a camera on the 3D printing machine, um, or the 3D printer. I mean, so That's not really an experiment. I want to experiment with 3D printing, probably above GitLab. I don't care so much about GitLab. um, 3D printing. So for that, it's like, you know, 3D modeling, um, finding other uh, people's uh, there's a name for the file. Like I don't know what it's called. It's not a. It's like some kind of vectors. I don't know. I don't want to say files, but I'm talking about they are files. I just don't know what like object files. I'll just say 3D object files. I know there's different websites you can go on and get like free schematics and stuff, and you can pretty much download the object and print it without using your brain. Um, well, you have to use your brain to get to that point where you now know what to do, and then you can just do it. Um, and and then I'll just say an embedded. I want to be careful about using the word embedded. It's a camera module on an embedded circuit or system on a chip style thing, but it's not an embedded camera. Like it's not part of the 3D printer. It's just a camera that I want to put. So install install camera, install what did I call it? Prototype camera on 3D printer. Right. I'm not going to show myself doing it, but what I'll do is I'll like physically, you know, hang it onto the 3D printer, and then come back to my computer in the stream and like make sure it looks good and print something and see what it looks like. Maybe in the future we can get 3 or 4 cameras on here, so we can get different angles. More more cameras for more angles, right? Because I don't want to get up and have to keep going over there to look to see if the 3D print's doing okay. I want the data to just be presented to me, right? Like we live in the world now where like that kind of stuff is possible, right? A lot more so than even like 5 years ago, um, and not that expensive. Like these, when I was showing you guys these milk, I didn't show you guys, but I mentioned them. These are $9 chips, and then you can get camera modules that you just plug in to like a serial port, essentially. Um, and then you can solder on stuff like the PIR sensor, which I don't think I ever did find what I don't think I ever looked up what P stands for in here, but like you have to like solder that on. But like this stuff, this part, like is just our pretty much Arduino or whatever other embedded tool chain you have to use to like load in the script for the camera to actually function and process, and then it's just a web server. So like I can manage the camera from here. I just can't move the camera from here, right? Like I'm talking about like total movement of the camera like to different places. I'm not looking to build a rig, right? I just want to like strap it on in different places on the 3D printer so I can observe my build quality and stuff like that. Yeah. And for those, what might be fun is just to live stream those constantly in the background, like with the Raspberry Pi thing, like have a dedicated stream for those, right? Maybe not necessarily to YouTube, or maybe I broadcast them through like a website or something, but I just so then you guys can like click on it and see what I'm printing. Like, I'm never going to print something that is sensitive to me, so uh, yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun. So you guys I don't think there's anyone else that's just like broadcasting what they're 3D printing. It's not like I'm gonna be 3D printing every day. I'm just saying like when I am 3D printing, you as a fellow human on Earth or on Mars or on a rocket ship can like look back and see what's on this 3D printer at this point in time that you're looking. Like I just think that would be kind of funny. Not funny, but like something that you otherwise can't do. Like no one else is doing that to my knowledge. Well, let's be real. Most people that are 3D printing and posting YouTube videos are doing it because they're trying to get ad revenue, and there's no money in like streaming that. So like, why would you do the extra effort? But I have a different model. I don't care. um, okay, so so like we have projects, configs, deep dives, operations, and like I was telling you, people like, oh, I'll just do this when I'm done with something. No, I'll probably just delete it. But like I might, if I'm in the middle of something and I want to remember what I did, I might mark the subtask completed so I mentally remember that it's done. I'm not going to delete those things until like the project's done. But definitely like when I'm done building Gen 2, right? I'm not going to keep Gen 2 up here. I'll just delete it. Kernel stuff is something that will probably never be deleted because I'm always going to be tinkering on it throughout, time. But like eventually, eventually, you know, finding more information and implementing more of your operating system is just no longer uh, content that is like prioritized. Like, oh, now it's just happening, right? Because it's like maybe I need to like do something like downgraded kernel module or something, and it'll just be happening. It's not going to be like, oh, well, let's enter Gen 2 time. No, it's just I'm doing it and it happens. Um, at the beginning, it will be let's enter Gen 2 time, right? But like eventually, it's just I'm just doing the Gen 2 thing because like I need to manage my operating system. Um, so anyway, so we have. I want to see like how these are prioritized. Like this needs to be more prioritized because, but it's not. It's definitely needs to be prioritized higher than where it is. But like I could say that about everything. So let's look at everything. There's learning, there's experiment, there's tools and apps. This is definitely something that I'm going to drop down a little bit further because like who am I to contribute to your problems right this very second when I still have a lot of problems I want to get through. So let's drop this down a little ways. I'm definitely going to put it down here. Like, you know, by all means, like maybe just because it's down here doesn't mean I'm never going to get to it. The idea is I'm going to look at projects and look at the first thing and second thing. And if I can't make headway or I don't want to make headway, I'm not going to go to the third thing. I'm going to, because I don't need 3 projects spinning. I'll go to the next section, right? And I'll say, okay, config, and I'll look at the top 3 things. And if, like I don't want to really mess with I3 until I do Starship. Unless you guys want me to prioritize I3 instead of Starship, then I will. But like, I'm not going to come down here and look at every single config thing before I go to deep dives. I want to be making progress on all fronts and all aspects. I want to keep this lively and flowing, and you never know what you're going to get when you come to this channel. In terms of the exact precise content, except when we schedule stuff, right? Like we talked about before. But okay, deep dives. Does deep dives need to be above operations? I think yeah. Experimenting for now, like this is just definitely experimenting, break things but not completely is like the theme of this channel. So like that's, I'm just gonna remove that. I know I'm gonna break things, and like that's, in fact I'll put that here. Break things but not completely. How about that? And by break things but not completely, I mean if I break something, I need to fix it. Like if I crash the computer and I need to rebuild my Linux box off stream because yeah, I'll do as much as I can off to get to the point where I can stream, and I'm back here not completely, uncompletely breaking my like reversing the break, right? Or if I have to like totally rebuild, whatever happens, right? But I want to try not to like totally be, in the desert sand, right? So projects are important, configs are important, right? Because like this is going to enhance, this is going to easily and readily enhance the stream by having a better looking UI. And maybe the dark background isn't the best thing. Maybe it's white. I don't know. You guys help me decide. I don't want to be too wild, right? But like I'm open to your input. What do you want to, like when you think of a channel like this, what do you want the terminal to look like? What do you want the Vim config to look like? What do you want their shell? And again, do I even use new shell? Do I even use do I even continue to use new shell? And I'll go into detail when we get to that topic. Like there's some cool stuff about new shell that maybe if you're not familiar with new shell, there's some really cool stuff about it, and we'll get to that. Specifically, it's, and the reason why I have the errors I have when yesterday in the stream, the reason that those are errors, and I think I even hit an error earlier as well, with moving something, is because it handles everything like an object. So it's not like my complaints aren't that there's a design flaw. It's that there's trade-offs with design choices. And maybe I'm not happy with the limitation of that design choice. Okay, I'm not complaining about it. But I'm not like, I'm still using it today. I didn't uninstall it, because there's some really powerful things when you look at the interface of your computer being an object, essentially a data store. Your like my computer is a data store when I enter the terminal, and that's a powerful perspective. It's not, yeah, that's the core difference between new shell and ZSH and bash. And I'm not trying to get people to change, I don't care, but I'm just saying, like, when you mess with ZSH and bash, and you can do those pipes and greps and awks and everything can be aliased. The reason that's possible is because bash and ZSH are just outputting text. You're just getting characters. You're like, it's looping over, the rendering of text. So you can do whatever you want with that text, right? But when it's an object, you have to handle the object appropriately for the type, right, and for the content the content in that data structure. So that's why I can't like do some of the things I normally do in a string manipulator, because this isn't a string manipulator. New shell isn't. But it's essentially like running a database and my entire operating system is the contents of the database. So that's pretty cool. I shouldn't say the entire operating system, but like the contents of the files aren't. They kind of can be, but like, you know, when I do ls, like that's an actual. I mean, if you've ever ran MySQL, you know, if you've ever done like I'm not going to type it in, but you know, select star for, you know, or I'm sorry, from whatever db whatever. Anyway, when you select stuff, like that's the output you get is this. Like obviously you're not getting my files, but you're getting a data frame, if that's the right term. I don't know if data frame is the right term in that context, but you're getting this structured output, right? And new shell is giving me that structured output, and that's really cool to me. But that design has its limitations, just like MySQL has limitations, and Postgres has limitations, and Redis has limitations, and Memcache has limitations, and Mongo has limitations. Bash has limitations. This is new shell's design approach, and then they have a limitation that I have to work around, and that's great. I get to learn more about this. Um, so um, yeah, new dash dash help. Like there's a lot going on in here, and uh, there's a lot I don't have any insight or context into. So there's going to be some spelunking through the docs, um, and whatnot, and yeah, I'm not going to mess with it right now. But you know, new shell is definitely something that I at least want to explore and experiment with, and we'll see if I keep it or not. But definitely, in the meantime, while it's here, like the best way to explore and learn is to like configure it. I just don't know what I want to configure. And by the way, like I said, I actually think I installed it more than a week ago, and I actually have some plugins. I don't even know how to use them. Okay, like that. Okay, so like I installed a couple of plugins, not off stream, before I ever had a stream. So I installed like, and I don't even know if these are all of them. I thought I had more. No, these are not them. I actually had plugins. One was like plot. I deleted one yesterday before the stream because I had a weird thing where it wasn't there. But yeah, I guess it was just plot that I could probably. You can see how long ago I actually did this, right? Like in my command history. So like this was definitely before stream. Yeah, then I was doing some plotting, and it didn't look that good, but it was more powerful than what I had before, which was nothing. Um, so maybe we'll try this again. Let's do 89. Let that load, and then the next one. I think it was just 89, 90, 91. Where's 91? That's weird. Oh, 91 is probably the Rust. What is it? Cargo build or whatever cargo is. So let's do 90. Because I did 89, 90, and then let's see what 91 was. Cargo build release. This will take a second, like probably longer than a second. I think I can throw more cores at it. I should probably do that when I'm doing Rust stuff because I have, like I said, I have an 8-core processor, and generally I'm not the kind of person that likes to go and do something in the background while this is running, unless it's like a kernel update or something that takes, you know, um, 30 minutes. I'm usually gonna just let it run right here and like sip my coffee or something, and maybe look out my window or something. Coffee. We'll see if that's a problem. I don't know if that's a problem or not. It's still in the process though, so let's let it finish. Nope. Okay. All right. So maybe we don't do plot. My point wasn't to do plot anyway. My point was to look at what other plugins I have. So let's just cd dot dot rm. No, I don't want to do that. Rm. Where are you at? Where are you at? ls. R. Oh, there it is. New. There we go. Rmdir. I know better. Use RMRF. If you know what you're doing, just use RMRF 100% of the time. Um, so I wanted to see what those other. Can I run cargo and see like an inventory of what I have? Check. Analyze the current package. Well, I don't have a package right here. I want to like. I've done cargo build and then like register. I'm not even seeing register on here. Where's register? Oh, it's just register. Okay. Like, I want to see what I have registered, but I guess I can just look at my history, right? So I had like a port scanner. So why can't I run that? Not that. That was a Go thing I was doing before stream yesterday. Um, okay, let's do this. History, pipe, grep, port, scan. So that's what it's called. I've registered it. So let's look at history and go to 78 and see what I was running to get those. Oh, it's just port space scan. So these are new shell plugins, right? You could think of like bash binaries, right? Or binary GNU binaries. These are just extensions and plugins that you can install directly to new shell. Um, which it'd be nice if there was a better way of doing this. Because like I don't want to have to like go to GitHub and search, right? Like that's one thing that's you know, um, JavaScript and even like Python and Go and Rust have ways of searching for things, like searching for modules and whatnot. Like it'd be nice if New Shell had this like registry of plugins that you could like interact with through your command line instead of like going to the browser and going to 5 different websites to see what people say are the best ones to use. I just want to like query and find plugins that people have published to like an app store. That'd be nice. Um, so plugin scan. Let's just run that real quick. I know I probably shouldn't be doing 8.8.8.8 and 53 is probably not the best port. Let's do port 80 on scan me. So I guess it's port scan. Does it not? Why is it red? I had it up there. Let's just try this anyway. And see if it works. That's weird that it's red like that. Port scan. What was it? Scan me dot nmap.org semicolon 80. Now the reason, or 22. The reason I'm doing scan me is because it's a public interface. The creator of nmap, you can look into it. I don't have to explain it much, but the creator of nmap like allows. I mean, it's his website, right? And he has scan me right there, so it's not like. Um, anyway, yeah. This is an endpoint that he allows people to scan. Just don't. If you ever interact with this, like, don't abuse it. Like, there's no reason to be malicious or, this is a community thing that a generous person has given the world, and I can't interact with it anyway. Expected int. All right, what is port? Okay, this is not what I thought it was. Let me go back up to the history real quick because that is not what I was expecting. Did I delete it or something? There's 300 and something. Or I'm sorry, 70 something. Yeah. I mean, it was it was Starship, and then I started setting up new plugins. Port list. So there's port list. Here's port scan. Did I remove that plugin? I might have removed that plugin. I don't know what this is. I think I went to their website and then because I had to go to a website to do it, right? Like to get the information, and then I ran whatever test they had for different for different plugins. But apparently I must have got rid of port scan, or it's for some reason not working. I had plot, and then I told you guys I deleted that yesterday. I was doing a lot of plotting stuff, just seeing what you could do with it. It was all through. I just worked through their little tutorial, but there was other ones I had. So let's actually look at the new plugin file. Um, so let's do it like this. Let's go vi new dot plugin path. So I do have some plugins. Okay, I do have port list. Let's go back up to list real quick. So how can I? Okay, register. So register isn't a Rust thing. Register is uh, a new shell construct. So port list, ports. I do have port scan. So something's weird. It's similar to netcat. So that I don't know why it's not working. Maybe I broke it. I wouldn't be surprised. I probably broke it. And then I have like plugin query. I'm not sure what query's for. Oh, show all query commands. What's huh? Oh, can I query and then give the name of a plugin or something? I'm not sure what that is. Here's another query. Query JSON. Okay, let's try that. Okay, this is not fun. Let's go to another register. What's this one? XY plot. That was plot, and I deleted it. I'll delete it for now. We can always re-add it by registering again later. I'm probably just gonna like totally wipe new shell and try again, because I have made some, not a bunch, but like minor things that. No, I probably will just keep it installed the way it is. I haven't like busted it or anything. It's just weird that the plugins aren't working. So this one, yeah. So there's another plot. What the heck? How far down does this go? It goes down to 94. So if I go D90J, and I'll just clean up the cruft. I did short of 94 because I didn't want to delete 94 too, and I didn't want to. I'd rather like manually see like how the block how the object ends and stuff like that. Cool. So new shell plugin path. All right, that was anticlimactic. Um, I want to. If I decide to keep new shell, I want to look into more plugins. I think Starship is probably more appropriate as a priority. And for that, honestly, also Kitty, which is my emulator. I didn't mention that before. Kitty is my uh, emulator. What's the best way? I guess I guess i3 is probably the best way to show that Kitty's my emulator. Right here. So when I do mod, which is command, or you could call it the window key, command enter, or I'm sorry, yeah, command enter shows or launches Kitty, which is my terminal emulator. I was running URXVT for a while, but honestly, like I prefer Kitty, I think. Um, and it looks nicer. Plus, there's like some cool stuff you can do with it. Like it has native support of images and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, let's go back to VI topics and Kitty. Oh, why did it close? Um, for Kitty, like give me input if you want a different background color, or if you want different like whatever. I'm more than happy to like experiment and change stuff. That's the whole purpose of this is to get your input. Um, yeah. So for books, I think at some point learning under learning, work through books. Like I actually want to like list my books, and I'll probably have a spreadsheet for my, I'll just call them texts at this point because they are textbooks, and status, like what chapter I'm on, that kind of stuff, just so I can keep tab, and you people can also like see where I'm at through the book, and if you see that I haven't gotten to a certain part of the book, then we'll update that, or if someone wants to manage a spreadsheet of like the status of the books that this channel has worked through, um, because then there's context, right, and the content that maps to it. So at some point we'll have worked through 10 books or 20 books, and maybe there's someone that's struggling through that book, and they want help, and like sure, you can go to AI now, like ChatGPT, and just type in questions, but like maybe you just want to sit back and like cool your jets and like search on YouTube for like someone else that's gone through it. Well, here this chapter has been gone through, and here's that, so you can maybe watch a second person go through it, and kind of aid you through that. um Now I'm not gonna go through the book and like answer. The purpose of me working through the books isn't to like educate other people necessarily. It's more so that I can be educated on these topics as well. But then like I'm gonna be asking questions and thinking out loud. So like my thought process will be exposed, and maybe that helps you cross a bridge, and maybe it helps you cross that bridge of that particular topic. Um, yeah. So, but in the meantime, like I have Black Hat Go that I was working through, Black Hat Go, which there's this thing, right, about like knowing how dangerous you can be, but not being that dangerous, right? Like knowing the dark side of what is possible doesn't mean that you are someone that is going to apply those and be nefarious. So it's called Black Hat Go. The reason I got that book is because you can learn from that, and if you are a white hat, you know, then you kind of got to see both sides, right? And then you like become really powerful and really skilled, and then use those skills in a way that is hopefully beneficial to mankind, or at least beneficial to like in a good positive way, right? Not necessarily like a I'm not trying to like be I'm not trying to put out a message here. I'm just saying like, you know, I didn't get this book because I want to like I didn't get that book because I want to be a hacker. I got that book because I want additional skills, and like in my day to day, like I'm dealing with people that have hacked things, right? And protecting them under contract, right? So like I need to know more, right? And that's the purpose of me buying that book. And these are again are not prioritized. I'm just writing them out. Numerical C, numerical recipes in C. What I don't know is how I'm going to broadcast, what I'm working through. This might be kind of my learning and book sessions might be kind of lame because I'm not going to like I'm probably not going to have like a camera on the book. And these are physical books, right? When I get to the PDFs and stuff, I can have those in another tab, right? And I can actually stream that. But with the books, I'm not sure exactly what the content is going to look like. It might just be a terminal with me working through the session on the book, of the book, like that section, and just me typing in the examples and like running them and experimenting and maybe tweaking stuff and playing with it, and then moving on. And then you're just there for the ride, and you can interject and ask questions and stuff like that, and we can do that. But like I don't know the best way to really deal with it. I don't know if it's if do I need to like have a camera on the book or not? I really don't want a camera on the book because then it's like it makes it uncomfortable for me to like have to deal with turning the pages and stuff. I like being relaxed when I'm working through books, so I'm not like sitting up at a desk when I'm working through books. I'm usually more relaxed. So like, this the part of, like, when the stream hits this, I'll probably be in a different uh like the vibe of the video or the vibe of the stream will be different, you know. And then the book, I also just, again, I have a stack of books out in another room, and this was just one of the books that were sitting there on the top, and I saw it and I was like, oh, that would actually be a good one to start with, if I'm going to do something like that. And it is Understanding and Using C Pointers, which is a very dry topic. But actually, in Black Hat Go, there's a section in the book at the very beginning where they talk about Golang by itself, and they use an example of pointers. And I was doing something that was kind of funky with the pointers, and I'll just show that real quick, maybe if I still have it. I don't remember if I have it or not. It was Go Code, SRC, count current. It was the very first one. It was memory, I think, actually. So let's just CD to env go path, so I'm there, and the CD to source as well. And then let me vi memory dot go. Okay, it's not in here. Dang, I think I deleted it then. Let me look at hello dot go. It wasn't in there either. Okay. So in here, let's see if I can remember what it was. It was something. It was silly. It was silly, but it was interesting to me. But it inspired me to look more into pointers. And like, I've dealt with pointers. It was just interesting to me that like I had like a revelation that I thought was just interesting. Let me open the book. It's not in the book, but I started experimenting off of what the book was telling me. It was kind of in the book. It was in the first chapter. It was right here. One second. Data types. It was really early in the book. Yeah. It was like one of the very first examples in the book. Let me move this over here real quick. So it's pointer. It's a section that's like 2 or 3 paragraphs about pointers and structs and interfaces. We're not going to go into all that. We're just going to look at pointers for a second here. And I'm going to write the example. So this is actually a demo of what I'm going to be doing. So let's go vi, and I'll just do pointers.go. And let me actually do this. Let me cp memory to pointers.go. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to write all the stuff up here. I don't. Why write that? When I can just copy it. So it was. I'll do it here inside inside main, obviously. Var count, and I'm just writing the example, right? So 42. Whoops. Var. This is exactly the example. I'm not like winging it. I will wing it here in a minute because I want to show what I found, or what I saw, and for some reason I never saw it that way before. So PTR semicolon equals and count, right? So I'm referencing the memory location of count, and then I'm going to print that. And again, this is the example. I'll tell you when I'm not doing verbatim, and you'll probably realize it anyway. So now I'm going to dereference pointer and print the value. And then I'm going to set the value of pointer, which is I'm setting the value of count, right, to 100. And then I'm going to print line. What am I going to print line? Count, right? And anyone that's ever dealt with Go before knows what is going on here. And anyone that's ever dealt with programming in general knows what's going on here, right? I hard coded it to 42. I printed the pointer dereferenced, which got me the value 42. And then I set the pointer. I'm sorry, I set the dereferenced value of the pointer to 100, and then I printed the variable that is mapped to that pointer location, which gave me the dereferenced value of the pointer, right? The actual value, which was updated from 42 to 100. But then I was like, oh, that's funny. What if I did something like this? Well, first of all, I'm done with the book now. I'm going to close it. Thank you very much. Mr. Steele, Mr. Patton, and Mr. Cotman, the writers of that book, or the authors of the book. So now what I'm going to do is change this up a little bit. First of all, I don't really like using var this way. I prefer this. And let's just make sure I'm not being dumb. Let's try to go run that again. Good. Okay. So what I did is I said, okay, how about I do, to make this more clear, I'm going to say this is the count value. I don't do this. Don't name your variable count value. Count is a valid variable name. I'm showing something and it just helps explain it. If I do something that's more easier for like a layman or someone that isn't necessarily familiar with the stuff. So anyway, I'm naming it counter value because it's a value. Actually, no, I guess I can keep count. I guess what I want to do is this. I'm going to call this count pointer, and I'll actually call it pointer. So count pointer is count pointer, the pointer to count. And then what